Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela, and welcome back to week 3 of Amethyst Ascension's past life. Hashtag past life. This is week 3, so we're going in to ask a bunch of questions. We're going in to ask about faith, love, and trauma. So those are the 3 categories, and I have pulled cards already. I did a little meditation and pulled all the cards. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's get into it. So here I'm removing the 3rd, that's the trauma, removing love. Now, and I pulled from the past life oracle, again, just to do like an overarching theme of each category. And quite interesting. And then for each category, I use different decks that basically called to me. And I keep seeing like a haze or something walking through here. I actually had a dream of my deceased stepmother this morning, which I've never had a dream about a relative or someone I knew that had already passed. And then I pulled cards at my break time, and she was in the cards. So I fully expect her to be present for some reason, hanging around me right now. I did call my dad and ask him how he was doing because that's his wife. So yeah, it was interesting. So for this first faith, I pulled from my Baroque Tarot and the New Chapter Tarot. And then this card is from the Past Life Oracle. That is an out-of-print deck. I'm sorry. So, for the overall theme, I pulled, again, spirituality and religion. And for faith, it says Gnostic or dualistic, religious, initially when we did this. And then there's a whole bunch of different religions I could have been involved in. And as we know in the previous ones, I was some kind of guru or some kind of spiritual leader. And then the bottom of the deck said Greco-Roman, which, you know, as somebody that was a gladiator, that kind of threw me there because that was very interesting. So I just thought I would show that. I don't know what time period this is, but it's interesting. So then I pulled for question 1. I actually pulled from both of these decks. Question 1. How important was my faith to me? And I pulled Knight of Cups and the Ace of Swords. And I immediately heard logic thinking. Whereas the Knight of Cups is... and I kind of kept getting this back and forth here where the Knight of Cups is about emotions, right? And then we got the Ace of Swords, that's all about the mind and the start of a thought process. So I found it very interesting that we got this emotional standpoint and then something, maybe an emotional upheaval, which I'll get into why that's the case here in a minute, I think. And then this is the start of some other logical thinking. Maybe they've been hurt and they're like, oh, if I do this path of thinking, then I won't be hurt anymore. I found that very interesting. So that was question 1. Question 2, how did my faith make me feel? And this is the first card that I actually felt before we show that one. It's the Queen of Swords. And again, we're all about logic and thinking. And there's something that just floated again right there. Interesting. Queen of Swords. This is the first time, there's my cat. First time I felt, because this whole time, I don't know if I'm male or female. I assumed I was male because of, the time period and stuff. But there was a time, in the gladiator thing that it said the women were Amazonian. So it very much could have been a woman. And this is the first time I actually felt like, oh, maybe I was a woman. I had that niggling thought that maybe I was a woman. And then we got, for the same question, the Knight of Swords on the other card. So again, there's this dualistic man-woman. And I almost want to watch, because I watched Rochelle's from Amethyst Ascension just a little bit ago, her video for this week, and it almost feels that very dualistic, hermaphroditic thing that I was like, maybe that's it? I don't know. But it's interesting. But I'm leaning more now toward woman just because more female-centered things pop up in this stuff. So that was very interesting. Oh my God, this cat. He keeps laying on my notebook that I'm trying to read off of. Okay, so question 3. How did I act because of my faith? And I got the Fool. I don't read upside down cards. This came out of this deck. The only card in the whole deck, I double checked it, that was upside down. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And we got the Strength card. So it's almost like my faith gave me the courage and the strength to act however I wanted. And that might have been acting a fool. Maybe a little foolish. But their face is covered also with stuff. I'm like, interesting. I just kind of like, ow. So then we have number 4. What did I use my faith for? And I grabbed the 7 of Pentacles and the 7 of Swords. And I'm like, what are the odds that I draw a 7 on both of those cards for this question? One is all about thievery, and one is all about planting the seeds. And it's almost like planting the seeds of doubt. Again, I don't know that I was a very good person. I feel like I was a very selfish, self-sustained, self-gaining person, and I used religion as a way to do that. And the deeper I go into this, the deeper I'm like, no, please don't let this be it. Wait. Did I do these wrong? How many did I have here? Yeah, that was 3. Why do I have another set here? 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's because I asked another question at the end. So I felt very like I planted the seeds of doubt in other religions or other things, and I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm the only one that's truthful. Meanwhile, I'm not, because of the 7 of Swords here. Is this very deceiving personality, which I found went right along with the rest of the stuff that I've done in this. So then it prompted me to ask another question, which I don't mind. I hope Rochelle doesn't mind that I've asked another question in here. It prompted me to ask the question, did I can't remember. Oh, did I abuse my faith for my own gain? And I dropped the Justice card and the 10 of Cups. So to me, 10 of Cups is a family, happy-go-lucky card, but in this respect, it's saying yes. There was a misjustice here that I saw it as doling out a sense of justice in the name of this religion that I chose. And in turn, I may have had a outwardly happy-go-lucky family, but on the inside, there was something rotten, if that makes any sense. That's what I feel like here. So I found that very interesting. That yes, I did abuse my power to my detriment, to my gain, which was crazy. So, and then I started looking up that first card here, the Knight of Cups. And it talks about being obsessive, having obsessive love. And I'm like, oh. And then it said you must believe in love to experience it. So there's a very good chance that I had a skewed perception of what love is. And you'll see here in a minute when we get to trauma, why. So that was faith. Now we've moved on to love. And I used okay, so to me, you get love as a kid. like you have that unconditional love as a parent or as a child. And I decided to use my Mystical Medleys and my Modern Love Tarot because Mystical Medleys is my child deck. And so because of what the first question is, that's the deck I chose, but it hit hard on all the other questions too. So there's 4 questions for this one. And of course I did a past life card to do the overall on love. So love, as I've pulled before, is love and promiscuous. And then there was fasting or deprivation, which it told us in the fasting and deprivation that I could have fasted or deprived myself of food, specifically in the name of a religion or in the name of love or whatever. So, I mean, everything keeps coming back to religion and love. And I just think that's interesting. But this first card, you guys, this is where I'm like, I cannot make this crap up. I again drew the Love Life card. And I'm like, what? 2 cards now. The spiritual one I did before and the Love Life card in the love category. I'm like, what is happening? This is insane. Insane. So I drew the Modern Love and the Mystical Medleys for the other questions. So, how did I experience love in my childhood? And I got the 7 of Cups, lots of 7s in this, and the High Priestess. And to me, I wrote down, what did I write down? Loved and adored. That, how did I experience love in my childhood? I was loved and adored. And then the High Priestess, it almost like I was a princess, and again, we got a female-centric thing going on, where it was like, oh, I almost feel like within this love category, I was groomed from birth. I was some kind of princess, some kind of guru's daughter, and I was next in line. And this almost looks like a princess here, and everybody's all over her, giving her all these different choices. And it's not about giving choices. It's almost like when royalty back in the day would open to the public and they would come and bring them gifts. This is what this reminds me of. And I'm like, okay. So even from my childhood, I had a very skewed perception of love because of this childhood of being loved and adored and spoiled and rotten and whatever. I had to take a drink, sorry. Which makes total sense for the rest of the reading that I've had so far, this far. So, and then the High Priestess, it just threw me off because I'm like, wait a minute, was I being groomed from a child? And then I think Prisoner of War. Well, I'll talk about war, and that's how I died in Gladiator. May not have been a prisoner of war now, because if I was groomed from birth and I was like royalty, I could have very well been an Amazonian woman. And I chose to go into battle to fight for my religion or whatever. I just found that interesting. How it does all tie together. So number 2 is, how did I experience love in my adult life? 9 of Pentacles. Again, love and adored. Yeah, crazy. And then the Strength card again. And I'm like, I don't understand this. I don't get it. I get it, but I don't. Because this almost made me think that I basically could have anything I wanted. Because of the way I was raised. I was raised, to me, very rich. Very cultivated. Very high-ranking status is how I was raised. And I carried that into my adult life. And I felt that even when I was talking about being a prisoner of war and all that previously, I felt that almost like and it's funny because nowadays I will have, when I go pick out something in the store or something, I have very rich taste. And I'm like, this could very well, it stemmed from this life. Interesting. And then if I'm an Amazonian, I have great strength, right? So that just crazy. So number 3, how did I express love to others? How did I express love to others? And I got the Fool again. Again, because it's a type of love, that it's a skewed perception of what love is, right? That's what the way I saw that. And then we got judgment. And of course, there's judgment from the outward view of life because they're like, she has no clue what she's talking about because she doesn't experience this. She hasn't experienced true love. And again, female centered here. And then the fourth question was, what was my love life like? And I got the Page of Swords and the Lovers. And this again, where my mouth kind of hit the floor and was like, you cannot make this up. Seriously. I just keep getting the Lovers. I'm a lover of whatever. And then here I even felt like, if I'm a beautiful Amazonian woman, men are just falling at my feet and doing exactly what I want. So that's how I felt here. Here, I felt like, almost like a 12-year-old boy. Like, I have no idea. I'm childlike in my thinking of how love should be and how love is. And I found that very interesting. So that was love. And I'm just like, what? A lot of these cards I've already pulled in other decks. They just keep coming up with the same cards. It's funny. Funny not, because I was promiscuous, so I could have anything I wanted, pretty much. And it makes sense. So for the trauma, and because the deck I always use for my trauma is Light Seers, because that's my baby, that's my special deck. That's the one deck I could have if I couldn't have any others. I used the Light Seers and my Journey of the Sacred Bee that's always teaching me something. And then I pulled from my Past Life Oracle, and then I pulled from my Sacred Rebels Oracle as well, just because those are me in a deck. And for the trauma, I just felt like those fit right there. So for the trauma is Witness or Bystander, and I was a gladiator. So for the overall category, I pulled Transportation. And then Ships was on the bottom of the deck. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Because Ships and Maritimer, Ships has been pulled multiple times. If you go back to the other couple videos. It's crazy. And then I pulled the Sacred Rebels, Faith in the Process. And I was like, you can't make this up. Really? Seriously. Because it talks about faith and having faith in that. Religions are all about having faith in the process of something working out or not working out or whatever. And I'm just like, whoa, that just blew me out of the water. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. So then the questions we get into there's 4 again. How was I affected by this event? And I freaking pulled the Ten of Swords from the Light Seers. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And the Four of Discs. And the Journey of the Sacred Bee is more of a thought base. So is the so is the new chapter. That's interesting. And I just thought it was interesting that those two are both thought based. This one is Four of Disc and the word is power. And I'm like, wow. And we know that we'll get into that later. I was religious, spiritual, whatever. That there was sacrifices that I was either party to or witnessed, and that could be very well be the witness or bystander, whatever. But I also feel like in this trauma one, there was something else that happened to me as a child that set the trajectory for the rest of my life, especially how it skewed my image of what love should be and the trauma. So I think I might dig into this one a little bit deeper later, but that's very interesting that the Ten of Swords came up for how was I affected by this event. It changed me. It changed me in ways that we may still not know. So I found that very interesting. And then we got power here. It almost like I rose to power. Maybe somebody died. Maybe I am the high priestess. Somebody died, leaving me in charge, or the whatever, guru or the princess. I now became queen at a very young age. Interesting. So how did I deal with it? Three of Swords. I was heartbroken. And then the Five of Cups, disappointment. I mean, they went hand in hand, and I'm like, seriously? That's crazy. Crazy. And then what did I learn from this? The Queen of Cups and the Princess of Cups. This is where my brain clicked, because there's so many female-centric things here that I'm like, maybe my mother died. Maybe I'm part of some kind of spiritual sect that was very powerful. And the queen died, and I, the princess, took over at a very young age. And that, just saying that, feels right. It's very weird. Which I didn't think would come to pass on this. So I just found that interesting. And then the last question is, how does this affect me now? And I got the Hermit and the Five of Wands. The Hermit and Five of Wands fell out together. Five of Wands, if you've seen any of my channel, you know, is my forever stalker card. And I'm a Virgo. I am the Hermit. So I think that was just reiterating that this is you. And the Five of Wands is always my conflict card. The card that I'm always in self-conflict with. I'm always in conflict with self. And that is why, because of whatever happened here. And I was like, what? And then the other card was the Hierophant. I'm always willing to learn, despite my self-abuse, whatever you want to call it. Despite whatever happened here, I'm still always willing to learn. And then it's interesting that this is a Buddha, because that brings it back to the spiritual aspect of things. And I just found this whole thing, I cannot wait to get to death, which is next. I don't know why. I can't wait to get to death and Death Was War and Ritual Priest. So I cannot wait to get into that, because it talks about, because the Ritual Priest was where I was doing these, like, murdering people, and, like, in the name of sacrificing them, in the name of a specific religion. And I just found that interesting, that this all ties together, but there's a reason why I became who I became. There was some kind of trauma that fueled from my childhood that, even this is almost like it's reluctant to reveal to me, because maybe I could be going through similar traumas as a child in this life. And that's how I felt about that. I'm like, that's creepy, right? It's weird. But I am almost out of time. This is the video I had for this week. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, linking anything that I don't see with past videos, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a good night. Bye.